Welcome into the DNVR Avalanche podcast. We got the whole squad of 4 because it's the best time of year. It's the Roast My Roster season. And I got to tell you, the RIZZLER is taking no prisoners when it comes to these rosters today. Going to be very serious roasting going on.
I have come to roast.
Before we do get into the roasting, though, the Avs do have a little bit of news. Ivan has finally signed his NHL contract. Obviously, has been playing fantastically over the past 2-ish months or so. Well-deserved, obviously. What do we feel with this guy? A 2-year ELC contract. Road still long to the NHL for him, but can he be a guy for Colorado?
I think it's a little premature, but I love the way Bednar put it today that he's now a prospect. We can now treat him as such. Evades the draft in that he didn't get selected, but was an intriguing player. He gets an AHL contract, and I just like to see that path through. Like, it reminds me of Colorado tapping into the college free agency market, looking into an undrafted player like that who had pretty good junior numbers, and then his first year pro started out a little bit slow for him, but he impressed Bednar out of camp, which I think means something. He's not usually so trusting with the younger players, but he thought that Jedlika and Ivan earned a little bit longer look than some of the other younger players, and I think that's a testament to what he's shown even early on in his adjustment to the pro level, and that is a high level of compete, engagement, and willingness to work on both sides of the puck. I think that is also nice that he is a centerman that has been playing as a centerman. And he's been getting better. I know he couldn't win a face-off like rookie tournament. Maybe that wasn't his strongest part of his game, but that is an area that has improved, and the production has also trickled in. There's a lot of veteran offensive talent in Loveland too for him to kind of compete with and find his way alongside, and I think that's been another strength of what he's been able to do this year. So I think it's premature to start talking about the NHL future fit because it is only his first year pro, but it is exciting now to talk about him in terms as a true prospect.
Well, I also think last year they signed Jason Polin, Andre Pavel, Sam Malinsky, and then bring in Ivan on a tryout deal. 3 of those guys have played NHL games for them this year, and another one has earned an ELC by being a really good AHL player.
Got to tip the cap a little bit there.
If you're going, I can't. It's stand straight up. If you're going to trade all your draft picks away at things like the trade deadline, you have to do this.
True.
And so I think it's really, really encouraging. I don't have anything to add about what you said about the player, other than from a roster perspective, since that's my focus here today. From a roster perspective, you have to feel really encouraged that you are at least getting 2 more years to see what he can be as a prospect at the pro level.
Yep.
Yeah, this is what you're doing is you bought time. When I say that is, usually when you draft a kid, you're 4 or 5 years away from maybe seeing him. So now you got this guy. You skipped the past 2 years of after drafting him, staying in juniors. You know more what you have. Seems like you have an intelligent young man that hopefully will stay the course on understanding what he is. He's a bottom 6 guy at the NHL level, and sometimes you're trying to be at the American League level and you're trying to compete and getting points. And at the end, they play the right way, and your turn will come. And when your turn comes, we've talked to guys over the years, and guys that scored 75 goals in juniors, and they can't play in the NHL. So you have to know what you are, and I think that this guy seems to know what he is. And then, who knows? Maybe you're going to see him at some point next year. I don't know. I mean, only time will tell. But what it is he has to know, and I believe he does know what he is and what he will be able to find a nest at the NHL level, and that's. There's guys that get 60, 70 points in the AHL, but they can't get 5 in the NHL. But there's guys like Ivan that get 20 to 30 points in the American League, and they eventually get 20, 30 points. And just look at Logan O'Connor or guys like that, right? So you have to know what you are, and you have to figure out how you want to get there. And he's taking the steps to get there. I like it.
Well, I'm glad Ivan knows who he is, because a whole lot of you seem to think you're NHL GMs, and I got news for you. You're not. We have 9 selected rosters from all of the submissions. Which, by the way, thank you to everyone who submitted a roster. We looked at all of them. It was a super awesome time. It's always great to see all the submissions over on Cap Friendly.
It's a lot of fun, although after about 4 pages of them, my eyes start to go cross-eyed, and I start to go, oh my God, is this another Alex Nedeljkovic trade?
I didn't see that many of those. I saw about 800 moves for Jake Evans.
Yeah, that was pretty surprising.
But a ton of submissions out there. We really appreciate it. 9 of them we selected from you, and then we have AJ's and my own as well to get roasted here today.
Will we know when we're being shown yours?
Yes.
We saved them for the end.
Cool.
So we can roast the
roast
Riz
those
God.
ones extra hard. Yeah.
I would just like to say in advance, my roster is unroastable. It is a 10 of 10. As the final judgment of roasting,
If mine ends
That is all
up
there
with
is.
a positive score, I'll be pretty
did
happy.
you do?
So
we have added the wrinkle this year that we will be grading the rosters on a scale of 0 to 10.
that is
0
true.
included?
We are including 0 because if you've seen some of our submissions, 0 had to be included on that scale.
Oh.
Most of them are 1 to 10.
There might be
We
some
went with 0.
zeros. I have no idea what order these were put in. So bring up roster number 1.
Let's get to roasting.
Roast Master RIZZLER over there.
I'll have to put him up.
Yeah, for the blind of you, you'll need to put it on your phones here. This roster includes Ryan Johansson and a first-round pick going to Anaheim for Adam Henrique, half retained. And then it also includes a 2025 third and 2026 second going to Montreal for Jake Allen. So, starting off with a simple one here. Nothing too complicated. Just going out and getting 2 guys that we've talked a lot about. However, you are giving a lot of stuff for Jake Allen.
Trying to find
Sorry,
it.
I'm trying to find which one this is.
Yeah, it's... I don't really have any issues here with the trade price. It's all fine with me. Your
Okay.
roster looks fine. My only question is that Nikolai Kovalenko is your 4C.
Don't really have a 4C.
It's a lot of faith for a guy who I don't think is going to be a center in the NHL and who has 0 NHL games played at this point. So the transition to wing might be easier to get him.
Given that he is a winger.
Yeah, by trade. I know he's playing center right now in Russia, but
No.
we'll see. I don't really, in terms of roasting purposes,
This is not a super roastable one.
yeah, this is pretty roast proof, but it's also one where you just go, it's fine. This feels like a crowd pleaser, which I don't like that you were trying to suck up to the RIZZLER. So you lose points. That is not my favorite approach.
All right.
How does the couch feel?
Well, I like what he did. I agree. You know what I mean? I mean, again, we're talking about the 2C. We're talking about the goalie. Overpaying for Allen a little bit. I don't think it's going to cost that much to get him.
Yeah.
Especially that the problem is he has another year, and that's why Montreal's having a hard time with it. It's that extra year, so it doesn't work. It actually works for you, meaning if you're the Avs and you're trying to get him because you're going to pay less because of that extra year, right? So, I one thing I'm going to say about Kovalenko as center, and I agree with the Riz God. You don't learn to play the NHL like in a Stanley Cup run. Like, you know what I mean? That is a tough position to learn. Way easier to get on the wing. I agree. This guy would be on the wing. We don't know how he's going to be at the NHL level, but I would say that maybe one day he'll be a center, you know what I mean, in this league. I don't know. But
Yeah,
I would say
I
in
don't
the
think
spring
so, to
right
be
now,
honest.
he would be. I don't know him enough, right? You guys know him. I'm just saying But the NHL is not a league in the playoffs to learn on the fly. You can do that with a young team like San Jose, Chicago, but when you're trying to go win the cup, it's a tough one.
Yeah, I think if they had the option to include like who their 13th forward would be next man up, it would probably be like an Olofsson or Wagner, I'm assuming, that could play C, and in that case maybe Cogliano is the winger that's left out of that equation.
Yep.
And I'd be much more warmed by this roster just because of what everybody is saying. I think there are some realities about playing center in the NHL that are hard to understand. The data around like the different development and different compete for different leagues has sort of placed the KHL below the AHL. Now, depending on how you feel about that, I understand why that might be controversial. It is going to be a level of adjustment for Kovalenko just to learn how to play center at the American League level. And I look at how Newhook was utilized in the Cup run, and I just don't think it makes a lot of sense, because even through that point, he had been around the NHL club for longer and wasn't trusted with that opportunity. I don't think Kovalenko will be thrust into that opportunity as soon as people are hoping. It doesn't mean that isn't a possibility for him down the line. I just think that's where I would need to tamper my expectation looking at this roster a little bit.
It's just too hard to shelter a center. You can't get away with doing some of the things you can with a guy on the wing. The other question I had about this roster, did they do enough? If you come out of trade deadline day as the Avalanche with Adam Henrique and Jake Allen and nothing else, are you happy with that?
I want a winger or a depth D. I know winger is like not the hardest need, but in the uncertainty around Nichushkin and seeing how much the forward group is unsettled when he's out of the lineup, I might want an option that I'm more comfortable with plugging into the middle six at wing. And I know Landeskog's not even in this equation too. But I'd like somebody possibly that would slot in there that I'd feel more comfortable with than a Kiviranta, because right now I just wouldn't feel very comfortable with that. Maybe that's Kovalenko music too. But I'd want one of those two things, the depth D being the other thing that I'd be interested in them bolstering a little bit.
Agree. I'm going to give this roster a solid 5 of 10. The Riz level is like your most typical pickup line. They walked up into the bar and did it hurt when you fell from heaven line.
Yep. Exactly. I would have said this is fine. I would have given it a 6, but you're clearly sucking up, so you get a 4.
Jeez, the Riz god is bitter. Yeah.
You didn't trade Sean Barons to make it happen, so I'm giving you a 7.
Oh boy, I'm getting a 1.
I am also in trouble.
I'm sticking to 7. I like this. It's the bare minimum I think they need to do, so that's how I'm going to base my grading here. Needed to see 1.
All right. At least the couch approves. Let's get to our next roster. Thank you for that submission. Okay.
Oh?
Let's go what?
Something is afoot.
There's only one trade of this one.
Yep.
Which one's that?
It's boring.
Give me the first line
You-
of trades.
You picked it. I
No, I know,
don't remember
but which
picking
one?
one.
I gotta
one
find
trade,
them.
but obviously it's my fault.
Oh, you just said. I gotcha. Sorry.
This one is simply Ryan Johansson in a first for Alexander Kerfoot and a third. Nothing more. Nothing less. And Kovalenko on your fourth line. But, that was a given. This one isn't good. I don't think it's bad. I'm not against going out and getting Alexander Kerfoot, but he's not a real 2C. He doesn't solve any of your problems.
Yeah, if this is the only thing that the Avs do at the deadline this week, it's unacceptable, and it puts Chris McFarland on the hot seat.
I think that's totally fair.
He would have to have an awesome summer to make up for it, because he, in my opinion, would be completely wasting an MVP season out of Nathan McKinnon to mess around with Alexander freaking Kerfoot as your second line center. Kerfoot is a fine top 9 forward with some versatility. He should not be taking on 2C matchups. We watched this happen, something similar to this happen many moons ago when they tried to make Tyson Jost the 2C in a playoff series and got rocked. It can't happen. It can't happen. It's unacceptable. You get a 1.
I was gonna say I feel the Riz God right now. I was right. He gave it a 1.
Is there...
Ouch.
Let me ask you this then. What else would you have to do to make Kerfoot make sense? Do you have to go out and get a
center.
proper 2C? Yeah? Okay. Other side of this, I want to gauge the couch's everyone's expectations. What do you think the cost realistically is going to be to move on from Ryan Johansson's contract?
A first is a little crazy, but I do think it has to be a second or a third.
Okay. So a top 100 draft pick, let's call it.
Yeah, I think coming off the surgery that he had, the results that he's had this season are kind of to expectation, and teams would look at that cautiously by itself, but also just the general overall stagnancy in his game hasn't really allowed his stock to rise to entice another team to be interested in taking on this player and one more year of that contract, even with Nashville retaining part of it.
I'm gonna go to Like if you go back to Montreal, that's great asset management when they got.
Yep.
Calgary was
first
stuck.
to take him on. Got a first to get rid of him.
Yeah, I know. They got 2 firsts for Sean Monahan as a UFA. I mean, it's unreal, man. I mean, honestly, last year Calgary was stuck, and then he sucked the first rounder out of them, and Monty, I believe, was at 6.5, give and take, right? So Johansson's at 4, right? So I agree. I mean, a first-round pick is ridiculous. It's not that bad of taking on that money as a broker or something like that. It's going to be a second or a third in my book. But for that, Ross, I'm not a Kerfoot fan. He's a nice player. But, yeah, I mean, I don't want him, and I'm just going to stick to what I have, which I'll make do with Colton at 2C. And, I mean, I'll figure it out. I don't need Alex Kerfoot to come and just bring another non-true 2C in a 7-game playoff series. No offense to Kerfoot, but
I am a Kerfoot fan. I like the guy.
Yep.
But you look at the Avs roster, and you know what Alexander Kerfoot is right now? He's a worse version of Jonathan Drouin.
yeah, I mean we have guys. That's what I mean. Like there's already guys like that. There's
Exactly.
Is he that much worse? I think he's pretty much Jonathan Druitt.
This
Good
year,
player.
sure. I mean, career-wise, I think Drouin has been better at times. But
You should stack them up next to each other and see how you feel.
Yeah.
either way, the Avs already have Jonathan Drouin.
Correct.
Makes it hard to fit Alexander Kerfoot.
Indeed.
I'm gonna go with a 5 just because of that. Because
That's a 5?
A 5?
You gave it a 1. I'm going by,
Unbelievable.
hey, I gave it a 7 to 1 before.
We always talk about nicest guy in the room, nicest guy in hockey, right there.
No. I'm going by. I gotta stick to my.
Unbelievable.
I gotta stick to my levels. You know what I mean? Like
I don't
7 right before. No, this is a 5.
I don't see how this could be anything above a 3.
God, you guys are mean.
It's also just not enough. Like, just Kerfoot.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I like Kerfoot. It just, there needs to be, to have even sold me on a number higher than 5, it needed to have more than just Kerfoot.
Yep.
And I saw them gamble at this position, 2C that is, last year, and the 2C, 3C flex is a risky gamble to take, and then doing nothing alongside it makes it hard for me to rate this more than a 3.
Can we bring it back up real quick? Also, a first? I know they got a third back,
Yeah. Shit.
but
Yeah.
that's an expensive price for a first-round pick to leave,
Yep.
and you haven't solved anything.
All right, I was generous. It's fine. But I can't
all
go
right.
back. I can't go back. I was generous.
Eric, this is his first roster
Yeah.
roasting.
Joe got to learn the ropes a little bit.
He's still
here.
learning. He's got to break out of the nice guy mode, and he's got to realize that these are bad GMs making bad moves.
I apologize.
I'm going to give it a 2 just because I like Kerfoot, but
Oh,
I stick with a
God.
1.
it's just roasted.
The one or the
Rizzled?
one?
Is that a verb? Can you rizzle them?
No, it's very much boom roasted.
The pickup line in the bar for this one is just a guy that goes, "You're pretty."
You have eyes.
You have eyes. Definitely, it is a you have eyes. It's Jimmy from Love Is Blind saying, "You have nice teeth." His fiance is laying in bed with him, going, "What's something you like about me?" And he says, "You have nice teeth."
That's a 1.
Tough one.
That's what that is. That roster is.
It's nice.
You have nice teeth. Unbelievable. I feel I was generous with my 1.
Macon gave it a 3 because it didn't trade Barons.
Rest in peace. You broke the rest of the rosters with that roster. Well done.
There's no names attached to the rosters, right?
There are.
Oh, there.
I mean, they're like handles on Cat Friendly. It's not actual names.
Oh no, but I mean, right now when I'm looking at them, there's no name.
Oh, not on your version. There won't be. Yeah. All right. Next roster. Yes.
If a man tells me I have nice teeth to try to pick me up, I'm calling the cops. That's the real talk from Kay. That's real talk.
You're going to notice a theme of everyone trading Ryan Johansson
Yeah.
in these deals. This time, it's Ryan Johansson and a second to San Jose for Nico Sturm. And then Ben Myers and a first for Adam Henrique.
Peter Bott, did you do this? He loved Nico Sturm. I'm just trying to figure out.
It's one of two people. It's either Peter Baugh or Nico Sturm.
Like, wait a minute. This isn't any offense to Nico Sturm. I just...
Yeah, I got it.
Is it because they think like San Jose might be one of few teams that would be interested in onboarding Ryan Johansson, and they're like, all right, so who is a center on San Jose that we could get in return? Nico Sturm is there? Is that the motive?
I guess.
I think it's Nico Sturm showed that he could fit fine in Colorado. Although he
functions.
didn't play a ton, and he wasn't
not very good.
He wasn't good or bad in my
Very
opinion.
neutral. Yeah.
Yeah, he was.
He was a Jersey.
Yeah, he was a lawn gnome. He was there.
Yeah.
He existed, all right.
Exactly. And I think the signed for next year helps you with that spot right away. But $2 million on your 4C? $2 million, this is what you have decided to do?
Gave up a second, and you're taking half of Ryjo's contract back on in this trade.
Essentially, yeah. At that point, why not just wait and buy Ryjo out? Does Nico Sturm help you that much in the playoff run? Bah.
Oof.
Bah.
Feel the anger, Rizzer.
Unbelievable. And Ben Myers in a first for Adam Henrique does not bother me.
I think it's an overpay, but I'm not saying I wouldn't do it.
It's an overpay by Ben Myers.
Yeah.
It's kind of merciful for Ben Myers. Like, the part of me that likes Ben Myers, the person, would see a path to NHL minutes through Anaheim. But it is an overpay.
There'll certainly be a path to NHL minutes when I'm done with Anaheim and with my trades. I'll tell you that much.
What have you done?
What have
sir?
you done? Oh, Sean Barons gets to play.
Not in Anaheim.
Oh, Rudo.
Drew Ellison deal was any indication? Probably not.
True.
Here's what I'll say on Ben Myers, and I know you guys like him. I don't think Ben Myers moves any needle. He doesn't. So what I mean by that is, and don't read into the, oh, but he plays one. Remember that game that you would have had to clear waivers? Yeah, that's what he is. I think the interest around the league is, I'll just pick him up on waivers if I have to, if he's out there. So when you're about to do that, is because you've already called 31 teams, and the value and return on Ben Myers is probably nothing. So that's why your only option is to put him on waivers, and you don't want to hurt your depth, so you hope that no one takes him. But that's about the needle that he moves. He doesn't move any needle on whatsoever in any deal. And the only way he does is if a team is asking, or you're asking the team to unload a contract. You know what I mean? And that's all that is, because it has nothing to do with Ben Myers.
We will fight about this later.
No, I know. I'm just telling you, this is what I think around the league its value is right now. And you can't go back at 2 summers ago and you had value. I understand that, but it's 2 years later now, and people see games, people watch games in the American leagues, and there's a lot of Ben Myers out there. I mean, there's every team has a Ben Myers, so I don't think he moves any needle.
All right.
We will fight about this later.
I'll fight the Riz God.
We have a third segment in which we will be at war, sir.
Over Ben Myers.
Get some ratings on this one.
Live.
5?
It's live on. We're gonna do it live.
Oh, you're fighting live.
Yes.
I have a weapon.
I see. That thing is dangerous.
I got nothing.
It's true.
I've used it twice to scratch my face. It was effective.
I think this one is a 6.
It's sensible.
You solved their forward core. My problem is you didn't go get a goalie. While you realistically maybe have solved pretty solidly their forward center issues, you left stuff on the table here for me.
To me, this is the equivalent of the couple on Love is Blind that nobody likes to watch because they have a healthy and successful relationship. Therefore, they are boring, and every time they come on screen, you just go, oh, okay, cool. This is the time for me to go to the bathroom or to go do laundry or to do something else because they have a healthy and successful relationship, and it's not fun.
Boring.
But practical, pragmatic, successful. I give it a 6.
I give it a 5.
Ben Myers -1 right there.
No, actually, I'm like, this actually kind of pleases me, the move to give Ben Myers sweet release. But it's the Nico Sturm thing.
Sure.
I feel weird
You
about
make it
how...
sound like he's in prison. The AHL prison.
No, it's just like this... Anyways, I won't go off on a Ben Myers tangent.
We can also fight about this later.
It's the Nico Sturm thing that's weirding me out a little bit, and it's because it's a little bit lateral. It's like the point of moving on from Ryan Johansson is to clear cap space, and it just takes back on some of that for a player. So, like, I love the idea of a motivation to move on from Ryan Johansson. I just feel like what you're getting back in Nico Sturm then makes it kind of lateral. That's why it's a 5. It's very average to me.
I understand the way the Colorado organization feels about it, but is there really any difference between Ben Myers and Nico Sturm?
Yeah, Nico Sturm's better and proven.
One has more
And
experience.
spot.
Is he that much better?
He also plays a heavier game, which on a fourth
The
line,
physicality is fair.
you will
Okay.
you will appreciate a little bit more. I just think your center depth goes from Nathan McKinnon, question mark, Ross Colton and Chris Wagner to Nathan McKinnon, Adam Henrique, Ross Colton, and Nico Sturm. It's something you can go to battle with.
That's why I like it.
It's not quite a noble steed, but it's a noble it's a steed that has aspirations of being noble one day.
You got the steed. You forgot to buy the horse armor DLC.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, sure. I don't remember Shrek 2, but I like the analogy.
Well, my only thing, because make sense, you guys don't. I'm going to give it a 6. For my 7, my 5, now my 6, because he's not addressing the goaltending situation. And for me, that's why the other one has a 7. This is a stronger center position, but it's a 0 on the goaltending fix-up, right? Where the other guy before was a little bit of both, and that's why I give it a 7. That's how I'm measuring. Unlike you tools, you know what I mean? I have a rating system that makes sense. So that's a 6. Yeah, you tools, all three of them.
All right.
Unlike you tools,
Strap in. All right. So far,
fighting.
I'm going to wave this wand in your direction soon, sir.
Yes, sir.
Whoa.
get your seatbelts out, lock them on,
I'm defending the chat. That's
strap
what I'm
them in
doing.
for this next one.
You can't even read it.
Because
I
we've been
got it
on
right here. That's what I'm reading.
we've been on the nice part of the highway. We've been on E470, all right? Well-kept road.
No
solid,
traffic.
flat, nice.
Not a ton of
No traffic.
not a ton of traffic.
Not a whole lot of traffic.
No honking?
Expensive.
No,
Expensive.
none of that. You're about to turn on to I-70 in the middle of a blizzard.
Do you keep
We
resending?
can't even read that.
You sent it again. All right.
I definitely can't
Thank you.
read that on my phone while I'm wearing these sunglasses.
I do want to know the roster. name
Jeez,
for
that's
this.
a lot. Whoa, that's I-25
Tiff,
at 5 p.m.
Do you
right
have
here.
the
Hold
roster
on.
name? What was the?
Oh, yeah, this one's called I'm from the future and this is what happens.
Whoa, that's
That's
a lot of shit on the
amazing.
right.
All right, that first tiny little trade up there. The Avs get Adam Henrique, half retained, for Ryan Johansson, a first and a fourth. The next trade, the Avs
I like it.
give up a fourth and a second to Montreal for Jake Allen with a random amount of money retained.
How much is it?
$962,500.
Because he's doing percentages.
That is definitely random.
Yeah, he's doing percentages.
Oh, no, wait. Did I read this wrong? What is... Oh, no. I'm good. Then the Avs give up a third and Jean-Luc Foudy for Nick Dowd. And then the Avs give up a sixth and a fourth to help retain an additional $800,000, which would make the Avs cap compliant.
All
He doesn't
right.
even specify on which player the extra retention is. But there's some extra retention there.
which leads to...
Too much. to
No,
read.
Eric Johnson's on that roster. That's how this happens.
Is that... I don't see Eric Johnson
Yeah,
on
he's
here,
on the
but
roster.
you're-
Johnson and Johnson.
You're correct. All right,
so
there you go.
Eric Johnson got brought
For a
back
sixth and a fourth.
for us. Whew.
Is that clarified, or are we assuming that because Johnson's on there twice?
No, I'm confident that is correct.
It is.
I
Eric
remember
Johnson?
reading. I
Yeah.
do remember
Oh,
reading
okay.
through this. Yes.
Wow, this is a doozy.
Yeah. So assets aside, it leaves you with Henrique and Dowd as your centers.
Yep.
Can you pull that roster back up real quick? Sorry.
I got it right here.
And then it puts Eric Johnson randomly back on your roster and does not do anything. So you have the good vibes train here because you get the best center available, and Nick Dowd is also there. So you're 4C. You feel better about the 4C. Look at that forward core and tell me that's not competitive.
I love the forward core. You may have made your defense worse.
Yeah, Eric Johnson is washed, and I hate to say that because Eric Johnson is one of my favorite people.
We will fight.
But great, bring it. I have weapons. So, Eric Johnson, I just don't know what the point is here.
Yeah.
So is that Eric Johnson on the third
It
pair?
is.
Yeah.
It is Eric
Yeah,
on
it
the
is.
third pair.
Fascinating.
And Jack. is the
Yeah.
extra.
So you have Caleb Jones and Jack Johnson as your, and not listed, but Sam Malinsky is also on their defensive depth
Yeah.
chart.
Yep.
You feel good that Caleb Jones and Jack Johnson are your 7 and 8, but Eric Johnson is your 6th.
I don't feel super good about
Jack Johnson's actually outplayed Eric Johnson this year.
it. Yep.
So that's a problem here.
You also traded for Jake Allen as your third goaltender?
It's probably just not listed correctly,
That's
but
fine.
Jake Allen, cool.
Where? Oh, got
It's
it, got
like a
it.
second and a fourth, right?
The second trade. Yeah,
Okay, okay,
a
okay.
second and a fourth for Jake
So you
Allen.
also have Jake Allen on that roster. So fine.
I'm coming
You're-
to believe that this person hates fourth round picks.
It is-
He included one in every single trade.
I mean, the Avs-
but
the
every
Avs
other
have-
team loves fourth
so
round picks.
The Avs have one in every year.
That is true.
So they're at least like flush in that spot, I suppose. So yeah, I think outside of the Eric Johnson thing here, I love this.
Okay.
Adam Henrique, Nick Dowd, and Jake Allen, you're prepared for a run.
Sure.
I feel like you have prepared for a run.
I like a lot of it. I am not sure I love Foodie into third for Nick Dowd. It makes sense in the right now, and I've probably overvalued what Foodie can be. We've only seen 9 NHL games, and he's been very hurt this year. And maybe that's why, like, this is the most realistic return that Washington would expect, because Foodie's stock has sort of declined, having missed as much time as he has, that it's going to take Foodie and a third to get that over the finish line. I don't know. I just feel like they haven't seen enough of Foodie to part ways with him, but it is another merciful path to the NHL for a Foodie that is more easily made in Washington than it would be in Colorado. But I think that's the toughest sell for me on this.
Here's my one.
Where's your beef?
So other than the EJ thing, which I think is actively just making your roster worse, my other beef is you're giving up your first round pick and a whole smattering of other picks. That is future value. And none of these dudes are sticking around. You're getting one extra year of Jake Allen as a backup, and that's the only guy who's going to be here.
Nick Dowd is also signed.
Is it?
Yeah.
Is it for 2 or 1?
Oh, he's signed for just one more year at
Yeah.
1.3.
All right.
So your 4C and your 2G are solved for next season
That's
as well.
that's not enough. If you're going to give up this much asset future value,
What a hater.
you got to go out and you got to get something more than a 4C for your future.
What?
You
Hater.
have basically just shot 1 billion holes into your draft capital and then collaterally shot holes into your lineup immediately starting next season. It's going to make it real hard to go out and get the next guys to fill those holes.
Incorrect. You're fine. I have no other argument. That is just all I had.
Eric, now tell us how they're underpaying for all of these assets.
I mean, like you said, there's a lot of fourth round picks. Like, you know what I mean? Like, a lot of people think like you can just go get something by throwing garbage at people. Like, you know what I mean? When I say garbage is, I've read some of those, and some names are like, you know, guys in the AHL roster, like guys, like they don't. Those guys have no value. You know what I mean? Like, it's a fourth round pick does not have a lot of value. Jean-Luc Foodie does not have a lot of value. It doesn't. There is about 20 Jean-Luc Fodies.
Okay, but it's Jean-Luc Foodie and a third.
No, I understand that. I'm saying it doesn't. It's like I'm going back to Meyer. It doesn't move any needle. It doesn't. Guys have their own picks, and they might have passed on Jean-Luc Foodie 3 times. That team that you're trying, you know what I mean? And then they're like, yeah, we don't like him. You might like him. You might, because you know you're a fan of the team and the prospects. But yeah, there's a lot of guys like that around the league in every depth chart. So I like that he's throwing forts around like it's candy, and I like that he's, you know what I mean, like, hey, go, here's a fourth, you know. But teams are not like, yeah, I'll take a fourth. So I don't know. I don't mind it. It solidifies a lot that everybody's talking about it. I'm going to give it a 6. He's not at my 7. I'm going to give it a 6 because I like that he's trying to fix some holes. But that's where I'm at with.
Does a lot of good work here.
Yeah.
2C, 4C, 2G.
There's a lot of work. Yeah, there's a lot
of
of work on the right side. There's a lot of transactions. You know what I mean? But it's all it's all good. That's why you have capologists out there, and you know, help you out through this.
Maybe overdone with the Eric Johnson thing. Like, it's hard for me to even evaluate that as part of it because I don't see it in front of me. But I think that's why this one gets a 7. It's because it does address a lot of things that I've pinpointed as needs for the Avs.
I think you nailed it. If it wasn't for the EJ thing, I'd have given it an 8. But I'm giving it a 7. Because as much as my counter argument is that you are messing yourself up for the future, I am all the way down to go all in this season for Colorado.
I want to give this an 8, but Eric Johnson's bad now. But I love Eric Johnson, and it's good for the vibes. I think they would be very excited to have him, so I'm back to an 8.
Jesus.
You just
All
got
right.
rid.
That's a pretty good Riz score right there.
That's pretty promising. That's good.
That might be the highest score I hand out.
I just didn't like the returns. You know what I mean? Not the returns, but the value of what's given.
It's a little dreamy. I get what you're saying.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't think it's realistic.
Is that the guy who walks up to the bar and sticks his hand out right as the beer slides across the bar top right into his hand?
And that's the opening shot of every cool movie,
Yeah.
every cool guy movie?
Yeah.
Exactly. And then that guy also has a cool voice, and he says something cold as hell.
Yeah.
That's the first thing he says
That's
in the movie.
beyond my level of Riz. I can't just come up with that on the spot. So.
Yeah, it's Roadhouse.
And the only reason, if I can just add one more thing to this, just to make it more like understandable, what I'm trying to say, I've been in those situations, and you're making trade deadline, you're in the war room, and usually you have two, right? You got the phone in the middle and the conference room, and then obviously you got the guy making the phone call, and this one is CMAC, but in my day it was obviously different people, but you're arguing while they're on the phone, and you got to remember there's a time limit, there's a time bomb, right? Have you been in those places where you got to go and you have an hour to unlock? What do you call those things?
Escape room.
Yeah, escape rooms. All of a sudden it gets heated at the end, and you start arguing, and oh God. Well, I've been in there where you're like, okay, just take the word Jean-Luc Foodie, and you're like, not a chance, we're giving up Foodie, you know what I mean? And and then all of a sudden you come back, and then the guy that's in the room by himself comes in the room, and then he's like, where are we at? Because now I got him on the hook, and and then the guy's like, yeah, but not a chance on food, and then guys start arguing. Then that main guy is like, okay, I think you guys are fucking way out in left field, and then he lets all of us as a group, listen on the speakerphone, and the guy's laughing at Jean-Luc Foodie, meaning like, yeah, we have no goddamn interest. You know what I mean? But then here you are arguing for the last 30 minutes, like, I'll kill you, like me and AJ, you know what I mean? We're going to fight after this. But at the end of the day, guys got no value in their ass because it's all perception. You know what I mean? So guys might like, and then they're like, no, but I will take Ivan. And you're like, what? And then you're like, whoa. And for you, your list, Foodie was right here, and Ivan's right there. You know what I mean? So it's so hard to gauge on what the other team. It's a dance partner. It's like a marriage. It's like, you know what I mean? Not everyone's for everyone. So that's why I always say, like, not being negative on the returns. I'm just saying sometimes it's viewed way differently than you think.
Okay, we need to hurry.
Yep.
Yeah, sorry.
We're taking too much time on these.
We're allowed to go long today, so we don't need to do that much, but I got you.
We want you to keep your outfit on.
If you want to increase your Riz factor, make sure you're sipping a Coors Light at the bar. Go get yourself the beer designed to chill, whether it's during a hockey game or you're just hanging out with friends. Coors Light is the beer for you. The mountains turn blue. It's literally made for chilling, if you know what I'm saying. Go check them out. You can go to CoorsLight.com/DNVR today. You don't even have to leave your house. You get it delivered right to your front door. You can sip it on your couch while you're watching the Navs game. It's delicious beer. You can't go wrong. And it's even brewed right here in Colorado. If you're local, if you're not, you're welcome because Colorado makes it. So go get yourself a Coors Light. Please celebrate responsibly. Coors Light Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. And then throw down some bets on Bet365 on whether or not you think the Avs are going to be good after the trade deadline. Who knows? If they make the right trades, it might be a good time to get in on the Avs to win the Cup bet. I think they're plus 800 right now. One of the top teams in the league still to win the Cup by the Vegas odds. You can use that QR code on screen to sign up for Bet365 today. Make sure you use the DNVR 365 code at sign up. You bet $5 with that code on any NHL game. You get $150 in bonus bets, which you can place on whatever you want. When you do sign up with Bet365, you must be 21 or older, physically located in Colorado. And if you or someone you know has a gambling problem, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER today. Second period of the roster nonsense, roasting, rizzling, shenanigans, bonanza. I'm really glad I put this one in here. Because it's bad.
Oh, God.
What?
Avs trade Foodie and Johansson and a first and a fifth to Columbus for Boone Jenner.
This is a war crime.
Avs trade Kiviranta and a fifth for Nick Dowd.
Puh.
And Avs trade Keaton Middleton and a fourth for Eric Johnson. And Buffalo retains 50%.
That was generous of them.
None of these are good trades.
Well, there's just no way the opposite team agrees to any of this.
Yeah, are you blackmailing the opposing GMs?
I'm cool with it. None of these teams are saying it.
Why is Washington getting rid of their top fourth line center who is signed for another year at an extremely reasonable rate for Yoel Kiviranta a guy who passed through waivers,
And a sign there. He had no
and
job.
a 5th round pick. What is happening? Why would they say yes to this? In what world is this acceptable? That is a fireable offense. As have been a lot of things that that team has done the last couple of years. But what? And I mean, Keaton Middleton? Why is Buffalo interested in Keaton Middleton?
They're sure not.
My favorite detail is the 4th that Buffalo gets for retaining 50% on EJ is in 2026.
Hell yeah, it is.
It's not even this year's.
Maybe by 2026, Keaton Middleton will become an NHL player. I mean, what is this?
I can't. I just said my spew earlier. I mean, guys like that they don't move the needle. Like there's guys like that. Kiwi Ranta had no job in October. Anyone could have signed him. He has no value. There's no job. It's the NHL. Let's all respect that.
Yeah.
Remember where I come from. I'm not. When I say this, I'm being very respectful. Like it is the NHL, and it's an honor to be in that league. But none of those guys move the needle. All you're asking teams to do is take on a contract. And always remember, it's 50 contracts. It's a big deal. The only reason sometimes they move a needle is because you're saying, hey, you are taking Keaton Middleton, because that's the difference in the contract. So
That's how Gianni Fairbrother ended up in Colorado.
There you go. That's what I'm trying to say. It has nothing to do with the prospect. Sometimes it's just like you got to take a contract or we're not making the deal. So forget about what the guy is. And again, it sucks if you're that guy, but it's up to you to maybe resurrect your career. But I don't know. But
Yeah.
I'm just saying those names don't move anything.
The only reason that Andreas Englund was able to fetch Jack Johnson 1-for-1 last year is because Andreas Englund spent half the year in the NHL.
That's it.
Keaton Middleton's not. So, also, you did that for Eric Johnson.
Yep.
So you made your AHL team worse and your NHL team worse.
Impressive.
Don't love that. And the obsession with Boone Jenner, you guys. What is the deal with Boone Jenner? I don't mean to start this out like a Jerry Seinfeld joke, but what in the world? Why? What is the obsession with the guy?
I don't get it.
He's like a solid player and all. I'm not saying he's bad, but he's more valuable to Columbus than he is to the Avs. This would be a 10 of 10 because for the Avs, they don't give anything up and they get a little bit better. But in terms of living on planet Earth, this is a 0. A 0. Think about what you've done.
I'm also giving it a 0 because I'm genuinely not even sure the AI in Chell would say yes to these trades. Like,
All right.
I just want to know why they broke up the chaos line to put Parisa, Colton, and O'Connor together and Wood, Dowd, and Kovalenko together. Look, it's not like that won't work and we'll never see that. I'm just curious why they did it.
I might have done something similar, so I'll defend it later.
All right,
I'll give it a 3 because I'm nice.
2.
All right.
All right. So, like, out of a possible 40, you got 5.
That's
Hell yeah.
why I'm nice.
Next.
T-Mac, have some balls.
That's what it's called?
You'll be shocked to know Ryan Johansson and First got traded together again.
Damn.
This time to San Jose for Anthony Duclair.
What?
And then
What?
you traded Bowen Byerman a second for Casey Mittelstadt.
Sick, I'm in.
And then you gave up Sean Barron's 2 firsts for Noah Hannafin, and you get a 4th back.
Well, at least you got the 4th.
Well, is Noah Hannafin signed on this
You
deal?
got the
or is he
you
not
got that
signed?
4th,
He's
so
not
the other
signed.
guy could turn around and trade it.
Jesus Christ.
Great.
Barron's is what, a 4th round pick?
Barron's
Second.
was a second.
So you gave up a second and 2 firsts for
Or
a week.
30
of
games of Noah Hannafin.
Whatever.
Yeah, for 18 games of regular
fourth-
season, Noah Hannafin,
But
and
the
then
4th
however
is
many
in there. The
postseason.
4th moves the needle on the other
The
side.
4th was necessary. I would like to believe that this person looked at this and said, "Gosh, this feels a little too stilted here. I need the 4th."
All right, I'm going to jump in right away.
Go.
You know what? I don't mind what he's doing there. Byron and second round Mittelstadt. I don't think you need to put a second round pick, but Bowen Byron's the 4th overall pick. Mittelstadt. For me, that's a hockey trade almost. It's a
I
one for
I
one.
actually think that's a significant underpay for Mittelstadt.
Yee.
I don't think it's that far off.
No,
of what
I think it's one for one.
I think that's close enough that I'm fine with the extra.
I'm fine
second.
with it. I like his thought process. He's swinging.
Yeah.
And it's a hockey deal right there to trade down. Love it.
I like the concept.
I like the concept. We can argue with the return. I think it's a one for one deal, but again, it's perception. The bottom there, I don't buy. Yeah.
Calgary wishes they could buy.
Well, yeah. Well,
Calgary
shit.
would sell at a heartbeat.
I'm not
for that
sure why
price.
you need Anthony Duclair.
It's like trading a $5 bill for a $1 bill.
I mean, I'm going to go with a 5 here on my scale, not the RIZZLER. I don't mind it because he's swinging, but you don't fix the goalie. You don't fix. I mean, you fix the 2C. I like that, and he's swinging. I'm going to give it a 5.
Love Mittelstadt. That seems right. Feels a lot like the Nico Sturm with the Anthony Duclair, Johansson, and shipping out a first to make it happen. Don't totally understand that one. I see the motive behind people desperately trying to unload Ryan Johansson.
Totally.
And I
This
can
is too
appreciate
desperate.
that. I can appreciate that, but it's not right. Yeah, it's too desperate. And then the Noah Hannafin, that's just too much for a player that probably spends a couple months in Colorado. Maybe he gets a cup out of it. Like, that's awesome. He's
not re-signing.
I'm
It's
gonna
not happening.
I'm gonna give it a 6 because of how much I love the Mittelstadt, and
Yeah.
I see the value in Hannafin.
He takes Bo out. He puts Hannafin. I get it. You know what I mean? I understand the concept. It's not bad.
Yeah, this is the last deadline you are participating in because all of your picks are gone.
Yeah, I think
So I hope you're cool with
You
that
better
part
win
of
or you're
it.
gone.
if you erase the other two trades and just did the Mittelstadt thing, I think I'd give it a 7.
Yeah.
But I have to knock off a point for both of the other trades that get made.
So it's a 5.
For Hannafin, that's an absurd overpay to the nth degree.
Yeah, did Noah Hannafin turn into a Norris caliber defenseman since I woke up this morning? I'm sorry, you guys. This is insanity.
Go look at that.
I can't believe the scores that
you.
you guys are giving it. This is like a 2 for me.
We're blinded by Mittelstadt.
Yeah, I guess.
You're blinded by the Casey. Also, Anthony Duclair's like not very good.
Not only is he not good, you're talking about bringing in this. He's been on 7 teams in his career. He's pretty clearly has not stuck anywhere, and
Been
you're bringing that
scratching the
into
playoffs.
He's very similar to Miles Wood without the physicality of Miles Wood. He's a horrible defensive player.
Penalty-
He's fast with some goal scoring acumen.
Liability.
He's in the penalty box a lot. What do we do? First round pick just to get rid of RIZZLER and get that guy back? What are we doing favors for the Sharks for?
Riz.
Unbelievable, man. And then Noah Hannafin. That Noah Hannafin deal is going to blow my. I'm surprised that my hat didn't go just through the roof at this point. Ridiculous. No, I give it a 2 only because the Casey Mittelstadt deal rules.
All right.
harsh but fair. The RIZZLER. Next.
Oh yeah.
That's
Sorry. Swish and flick.
This next one.
What?
Wow, that's a lot of stuff. All right. You have one massive trade that is Bowen Byram, Jean-Luc Foudy, Ryan Johansson, a first and a third for both Yanni Gourde and William Borgen.
Nice.
And then the Avs get Gergensen with a bit retained for Ben Myers and a fifth.
Nice. I'm into it.
About it?
Yeah, I think it's probably like, could you take the third off of the Seattle deal? And I'd be into it. I would have no issues, no notes. I'm all about it. That rules. Will Borgen is really good, really underrated.
I like him.
Yanni Gourde, we've talked about it. That guy rules. You're giving up a lot of futures here in order for the next 2 years to be really good for you at 2C. But it gives you really good center depth down the middle. That's awesome. I'm all about that. It's probably too much. I'm cool with that. The Gergensen's deal is probably a little. I don't know how to value Gergensen's because he has like 9 points this year.
I assume it's still on the light side.
I think it's probably a lot on the light side, but not a. I don't think it's too far off. If you change the fifth to a fourth,
Yeah, you're.
I'd probably be into it, and I
if
like
it
what
was
this
a
does.
third?
I like your roster looks super good to me.
What if they said we want a third?
Well, then I would take this wand and I'd hit him in the face with it, and it would turn into a fourth. Because that's how magic works, baby.
I'm not sure if Buffalo says yes. I'm a little unsure of the value of Myers in their system specifically. I'm not sure he'd be a fit. But
Probably
Yeah.
not. Yeah.
so I don't know if they would say yes. And it's just specific to who Buffalo is, their identity.
Yeah.
Love the first part of this, though. Yanni Gord is my, even better than Casey Mittelstadt pipe dream that we didn't even do a video on because I don't believe it's possible.
No,
Yeah.
it's not.
So I give this a 9.
Love it. Eric?
Yeah, I mean, I like it. I do think Bowen Barnes got a bigger value than that.
But you are getting Will Borgen in return, who's a guy that's going to stay with you for a couple years, and
I
he's
didn't say I
good,
didn't like it. I
man.
said the value.
Yeah.
I liked where it's. I like the meat. I like it. Again, I go back to the bottom there. Gergensen for a fifth. That's what it is. And then forget about the name Ben Myers. Just put any name there. There's no value. It's just a contract for a contract.
Keaton Middleton.
You could put. There's no value.
Buffalo historically has interest
You know.
in Keaton.
So it's
This is not a
for-
Buffalo
you're
decline
Buffalo,
scenario.
yeah.
I'm just saying, forget about the word Ben Myers. It's a you're taking on a contract. You're gonna want to give a contract out. So put any name in there. I've seen all the names: Foodie, Middleton. Put them all in there. There's no value to any of those names. The only value it is a contract for a contract. So just take a name. I don't mind that. I just think the top part can be fixed a little bit. I do like it. That's the best I've seen, and my best was a 7.
Yeah.
So again, I am fair. That's an 8.
8.5 for me.
What? What's the half?
Didn't solve the goalie.
That's it, buddy.
I'm giving Gergensen's a half.
I like it.
What the
Does he make the Avs better? Yes. Are there better options for 4C out there? I think so.
Okay, but
Ooh, which one?
Ben Myers in a fifth is pretty cheap to solve it.
Yeah, I also don't think that would get her done. So,
All right, Ben Myers in a fourth is pretty cheap to get it done.
well, if you put a
Chance to
fourth on there,
climb.
maybe it's a 9.
It's going to be Gergensen is going to be a 3rd round pick and whatever name you want.
What
as
in
a
the hell?
contract.
A third round pick? We're
I'm just
fighting
telling
again.
you, that's what it's going to cost.
We're fighting again.
Live after.
I agree with Megan. I'm giving it a 9. This makes you rock solid.
Yeah.
Yeah, no notes.
The player that Bowen Byram has been so far this year has been surpassed by what Will Borgen has been this year. I'm good with that.
All right, C-Mac, this is the one. Make it happen.
No, the one is coming.
It's the one that is
The one.
insane.
The one.
Maybe
Both.
But 2 more. Yep.
Go.
Let's do this.
Next one from a viewer, Bowen Byram, and a first for Mittelstadt, and Buffalo giving a second back. By the way,
Love this.
a ton of you thought that Buffalo was going to give the Avs a bunch of picks back when they traded for Mittelstadt. I don't understand this. A lot of you did this. And then Ryan Johansson, Ben Myers, another first for Capo Kakinen with retention, and Nico Sturm. I'm going to let you guys think and talk about this one because we're going
What?
long, and that means I got to take a break.
I don't have a lot to say about this other than I don't like it. I just think that the pricing on it, the Mittelstadt deal feels fair to me. Byram in a first for Mittelstadt in a second, cool. I'm down. That sounds great.
Yeah, I like
There's
it.
no way the Avs make that second round pick. They'll definitely trade it for something else. But you've given up another first round pick for Kakinen and Sturm.
Well, it's because it's the Ryan Johansson, I think.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah. Take on the money.
But again, like part of the appeal in getting rid of Ryjo's contract is that you get rid of $4 million comes off your books, $2 million comes right back with Nico Sturm.
I like Kakinen, but since Blackwood got hurt, I don't think that is viable anymore for them. It's either that I don't like it and I'm not believing it for the second part of this. Like the first part, I think it's a fair trade for both sides with Byram and Mittelstadt and some picks going each way. The bottom, I'm just not a believer in, and I don't fully love.
Yeah, and like your fourth line in that lineup, O'Connor, Wood, Sturm, you're still looking at your center in that and going, that's easily your worst player.
Yep.
And you gave up a lot to get easily your worst player on your fourth line and a guy that may not play any games at all for you in the postseason in Capo Kakkonen. Like, let's keep in mind that, yeah, you can like Capo Kakkonen, think he's going to be decent, but he's on an expiring deal this year. He's going to be a UFA, I believe, and he might play, 5 regular season games for you, and that's it?
No, don't like the bottom, like the top.
Gerard McCarr.
You know, I don't know. I'm going with a 6 on this one. He's fixing the goalie. He's fixing the, center, 2C. He's swinging a little bit. I like it. I'm going to give him, like I said, 6 for courage. You got to have courage when you swing.
They're very courageous. They put Malinsky as the bottom pair for a playoff run, and I love it. I'm not sure I believe in that either, but I want to. So I'm going to give it a 7.
I think it's a 6 as well. I think if you're going to find a way to move Byram at this deadline, you need to backfill that position. Nothing against Malinsky. Just, I don't think that's the type of D the Avs are looking to run on their bottom pairing in a playoff run. Systemically, I don't think that's the case. The Kakkonen deal, I don't know how to feel about it because I just don't know how much he helps the Avs. Obviously, in the playoff run, probably doesn't help the Avs at all if things go well. But beyond that, I don't understand how much he helps the Avs.
It's really expensive for something that is min-maxing at best.
Yeah. Okay.
I give it a 4.
Riz is lining up.
I like it. I like the low score there, to be honest. I think I would lean closer to that way if I had to. One final. User submitted one. That looked like there was a ton of stuff on this one. I don't remember any of the things that I submitted. This one starts off by trading Bowen Byram and a first to Buffalo for Mittelstadt, a second and a third.
Cool.
Cool, yeah.
Then is following up with Sean Barons, a first and a third to Calgary for Noah Hannafin.
Okay.
Then moves Richie and a second for Nick Dowd.
Jesus.
Then moves Ryan Johansson, Ivan Prosvetov, and a second for Jake Allen. Which, by the way, Montreal does not have a lot of cap space to work with there. So I guess you're just taking Jake Allen on full contract.
Hot.
With Johansson. I mean, it's almost a wash, right? 3, 5, and 4, so.
Correct.
Nobody wants Prosvetov. Could have had him for free last week.
I think of all the deals that we've looked at so far, that Nick Dowd deal is the worst and the one that makes me want to jump through this window.
Very, very overpay. Very, 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 very over. You gave a first and a second, essentially, for Nick Dowd.
Yeah. Why? For a guy that's going to play 12 minutes a night at best for you in a playoff run? I know he's signed for next year, but he's still going to play 12 minutes a night next year. $1.3 million. And as Megan astutely pointed out in our trade deadline video that we did on Nick Dowd, not the fastest of fellows. So you have fit questions there. What the hell are we talking about? The rest of this is honestly irrelevant.
Yeah.
Because I mean, again, is that Brian McClellan? Is he the one that submitted that?
I'm sure he would love Callum Ritchie in a second for Nick Dowd.
What?
Yeah, he would. If that got offered to him, he would say yes immediately. Immediately, like trade call now.
Get in the queue.
It burns down the rest of it. I give it a 0.
So Nick Dowd.
Gosh.
It's a 2 for me.
Oof. Harsh grades.
Like Mittelstadt, like the first part. Think it's an overpay for Hannafin. Huge overpay for Dowd. And I'm not believing the Montreal trade. I don't think that happens.
Yeah, the organization that has
definitely
too many goaltenders already is going to trade for more.
Bring Provy. I don't think so.
They also Ryan Johansson doesn't make any sense for them. Not that Ryan Johansson makes sense a ton of places, but Ryan Johansson would have just like it would be a wasted year of that guy in Montreal.
For my money, that deal is the Love is Blind equivalent of the couple from season 1, Carlton and Diamond, that got engaged and then got to the pool. And she threw the ring at him, and they broke up immediately and talked shit about each other on social media for 6 months, and it rocked.
Ham sandwich. It's a 4. Am I missing something on Nick Dowd? Like I'm just.
People believed the hype that he was actually worth a first. That's what
What
you're
is the
missing.
hype?
I mean, it's kind of the same thing with Jake Evans. Once you get it in your idea, or once you get the idea in your head,
Can't shake it.
yeah, you kind of, and especially with a 4th line center, which are a lot harder to find.
Okay.
I think it's just easier to get attached to, like, oh, he checks a couple of these boxes.
Well, I'm not attached to him, so 4.
My man.
I think that it's a 4, but if you don't win the cup, it might be a -4
Yeah.
because you are out of stuff. You are out of stuff.
Yeah, but at least you have Nick Dowd next year.
Yeah, I mean, you know, if Casey Mittelstadt wants to sign for $4 million, it becomes a lot better of a thing. But anyway, tough one there for me, to say the least. Not as bad as the worst one, though. AJ, the RIZZLER himself, put that in the 0 category. So
Just awful.
So
The Riz.
people
Awful.
traded Miko.
Yeah, there were a bunch of people that actually were like, we're going crazy.
For a 4th?
I tried to keep these at least semi-reasonable. Like, some of you went out and traded for, like, John Tavares and stuff, and I was like,
Yeah,
that's
that
not
roster, by the way,
happening.
that was named AJ is going to hate this, you were correct.
You were correct.
Yeah, automatic 0. Didn't even click on it. You're awful. Obviously clicked on it. But I X'd out of it as soon as I
Very
saw what
quickly.
you have done. The betrayal was real.
On that note, if you are mourning the loss of your roster to the RIZZLER, make sure you go get yourself some Circle K snacks to eat through the pain. Get your Inner Circle rewards also when you go to Circle K. You use the QR code on screen or go to circlek.com/innercircle today to get their rewards app. Just for signing up, your first 5 fill-ups get 25 cents off a gallon. You also get a bunch of different snack bonuses, including up to 5 free Polar Pops, but great deals every single weekend on game day snacks. Go check it out at Circle K. Get the Inner Circle rewards program today with that QR code on screen. And once you've got your snacks ready, I don't know. What do you guys ever do? Like oranges for rush soccer and stuff? Yeah, you could do that now as an adult with the Volo Pass over at Volo Sports. They're back. It's starting to turn into nicer weather. Sometimes it's Colorado. You never know what weather you're really gonna get.
Starting to turn into nicer weather as it's been 65 and sunny all week, and it's going to snow on Friday.
Yeah, I know, but you know, the point is, Volo. You can get the pass. You can sign up all the time. You can also register for all sorts of amazing spring sports when it comes to Volo. They're the modern day sport and social club, and it's just $20 a month, and you can even get $10 off per month for the first 3 months when you sign up using the Volo app and code DNVR3 for the Volo Pass. You got to go check them out. If you didn't get with us last year, I know there's a bunch of DNVR people that are starting up another bowling league, so I guess the weather doesn't matter for that one. You'll be inside.
Matters for getting there.
That's true. You still got to drive there. Fair enough. Either way, great deals when it comes to Volo. You can get a bunch of discounted access with that DNVR3 code, and it's awesome. You can go check it out. They're the biggest social sports company in the country. They got all sorts of different Volos all over the place. The one in Denver here, bunch of dope sports. Go check them out. Hit them up. Get the Volo app today and use that DNVR3 code to get $10 off your first 3 months.
I was just looking at you through the star in my wand.
Are you hexing me? Is that what?
Not yet.
Well, you're about to.
Yeah, I bet.
We do have my own and AJ's own rosters here. We can start with mine.
There's a lot of shit on the right.
I knew it. I knew this was coming.
Tiff, do you
I
have
knew
them?
this was coming.
Right.
They should be in there. I gave up an absurd amount of things for Mason McTavish. That being Bone Byam, Callum Ritchie, a first, a fourth, and a second.
Oh, at least the fourth is in there.
Look, my conversation here was like, what would happen if you're having a conversation about Adam Henrique and then you just told Anaheim everything's available for Mason McTavish? What would it take to get Mason McTavish?
Sure.
And I had a whole long spiel that you guys won't care about how they're probably going to draft in the top 5 and maybe they think Demidov or Hellenius is a center to talk themselves into this deal that's just not going to happen. But it would take something like that for them to be convinced that Mason McTavish would be willing to let go and come to Colorado. I then moved Sean Behrens, the man himself, and Ryan Johansson, as well as a third for both Nick Bjugstad and Troy Stetcher out of Arizona.
Fuck yeah. Troy Stetcher time. The dream is realized.
And then I gave Ben Myers and a third for Jake Allen.
Cool.
I also made sure that this was completely cap compliant, including Mason McTavish's bonus money. So there would be no carryover at all.
No
for
overage.
Colorado. No overage.
Nice.
Which leaves you with McTavish as your 2C, long term. Bjugstad as your 4C, alongside Kovalenko. Stetcher on your third pair with Johnson now, and then Allen as the backup.
Nice. I can't really give you credit for thinking outside the box because we've had conversations
not a big
on the
outside the box,
podcast
yeah.
about this, but it's a lot and it's fun. I give you a 10.
Let's go. All right. Couch is going to tell me how much I overpaid for everything now.
It's really, I think the Montreal and the Arizona are fine. I'm not sure about Anaheim.
I know.
And I'm glad you explained it. You're like, I don't think this is realistic. This is just what it would take if they were to ever move on from him. Like, I think Verbeek would look at you like, can I interest you in a Trevor Zegras instead? And
I'd be like, no.
No, exactly. Like, I understand the want for Mason McTavish.
Then you would
also
curl up in the corner and
really
hiss
like-
at them.
I also really like Mason McTavish. I don't think I like him this much, but I'm going to give it an 8. And it's just because I don't believe in the first one. I don't think that would happen. But I love the second two. And it involves moving on from Behrens. But I see a path forward for him in Arizona.
Yep.
And I like Bjugstad on the fourth line. And Stetcher is the bottom pair D. Works for me.
Well, you fixed the goalie. You fixed the centers. You play with the D, right?
Yep. I love it.
I mean, go 1, 2, 3 at the bottom. Forget about Myers. It could be Frank Stevens,
just
Rudo.
Ben Myers is code for whichever random AHL guy that you want.
It doesn't matter. It's just a contract for a contract. Number of contracts coming off. You're taking on
Does that
one.
make Ben Myers AHL coded?
Yeah.
Yes.
That's
Nice.
what that is. So I like that.
I'm so hip.
I like the other one there. It's perfect.
He doesn't have the sauce, though.
And I just don't think that they would trade Mason McTavish for that. And I know he loves him. But yeah, I mean, if you would want to do it, I would be all in for that. I love your swinging. I love it. I agree with the RIZZLER. I hate to agree with him, but it's a 10.
Because I have a magic wand, I am awarding 2 extra points from Megan, so you have 10s all around.
We have to
That's why
forgive her DU bias. She said it wasn't about Behrens, but we know it was.
That's why he's the best in the league.
This is why you carry wands.
You heard it here first. Mason McTavish, future Avalanche.
I mean, you talking
All-Star.
about that roster behind McKinnon?
Oh,
Buddy, are you serious?
That's
Come on.
a cup caliber team right there.
Stop.
That's
He's
why
a
I
bulldog.
let
The guy's a
myself dream on
bulldog.
it a little bit.
He is a bulldog.
I like that both you and I solved the 2C problem, but we went about it super differently.
Oh boy,
All right.
I can't wait to see this.
Yep, you're going to hate it.
Nope.
So, I traded Ryan Johansson and Ben Myers to Chicago for a third and a third round pick for nothing. Have
Sure.
some stuff.
Just dumping the money. Got
Yeah,
it.
I figure Ben Myers may not move the needle for Eric, but he can move the needle for a team that doesn't have any NHL players, and they can at least get a third round pick out of it, and they need money to get to the cap floor.
True.
So, I don't think it should be too expensive for Chicago.
No, it's
Have
good.
at it, Chief.
I like it.
I like it. It's totally free. And then I moved Sean Behrens and a first round pick to Tampa Bay for Nick Paul. He's my 2C answer. He's signed for 1 million more years, but it's like $3.5 million or something. And I am a believer in a guy that I know I know they've gone after before as a really good defensive player, but is also breaking out offensively next to some good players. I think he's a lower end 2C offensively, but he's signed for a long time. He's cheap. I also think he rules. I had Cal Ritchie in here ahead of Sean Behrens because I actually think that's the real offer.
I agree.
And then I didn't want people to come for me, so I switched him out for Sean Behrens because I thought that would be more of a crowd pleaser because I am a coward.
I thought if you were a crowd pleaser.
Then I traded a 3rd-round pick to New Jersey for a half-retained Colin Miller because I love Colin Miller. That's all that is.
At least you're honest.
That's all that is. And then I don't remember the last. Oh, yeah, I traded John-Luc Foudy and I think Ivan Prosvetov for a half-retained Capo Kakinen because I needed to greatly underpay for something so I could feel like I was part of the cap-friendly fam. So that's what I greatly underpaid for.
I think this is the first year I feel like I made a better roster than you.
Okay, my roster is better because mine's on Earth. Kind of.
True.
But I just like it. I got a 2C.
Did you?
I got a third pairing.
Did you get
I
a
did.
2C?
I'm going to play him as such. So, neener. And I got a depth defenseman who plays on the right side. Who's got a little bit of offensive skill, a little bit of jam. He can do a little bit. I'm worried about his skating, but he's replacing Jack Johnson in the lineup. So, they both suck at skating. So, it's kind of like having the same thing, but I think Colin Miller's just a little bit better at everything. So, I'm happy with that trade. And then, I got Capo Kakinen. So, hells to the yeah.
I actually really like the Colin Miller deal. I would do that right now.
I don't think New Jersey would, but I agree with you.
And that's also true of the Kakinen one, but obviously no way in hell that's getting done.
I just ran out of stuff.
Yeah.
I also had like $1.5 million to go. And I was looking around for a 4C, and then I got tired because it was 3 o'clock in the morning, and I just said, I'm good.
It's fine. Don't need it. I just can't. I can't give you Nick Paul. I get what you're trying to do. I get it solves the position long term in theory. But are you not just running it back with a guy who should be down a line? Is this not just Ross Colton again? Cheaper?
Maybe. But if I get really, really, really good defense out of him, and I get a lot of other check boxes, good at faceoffs, takes care of his own zone. I've got Val Nichushkin and Arturi Lehkonen sitting there, and I feel like I have a super duper shutdown line. Maybe it doesn't get the job done as much offensively as you would like on paper, but on defense, they allow no goals.
They better allow no goals.
That's what I'm saying. No goals. No goals get scored, especially when Georgiev gets pulled for Kakinen halfway through the postseason. Yahtzee, you're welcome. 10 out of 10. I will hear no other arguments about it. My roster is perfection.
Yeah,
back
Behrens
me up,
needs
Couch.
to be Cal Ritchie. I don't think. See, like,
Yeah.
I like Nick Paul, but Tampa likes Nick Paul.
The only reason that I made the swap, other than trying to kowtow to the people in chat, is that Sean Behrens is NHL pro ready, and Tampa may not want to wait 2 or 3 more years for Cal Ritchie and the first round pick, which they would probably trade anyway. They could get Sean Behrens into pro hockey immediately. Their defense sucks. Their defensive depth sucks. So I think Sean Behrens could provide immediate returns there, which they might have a little bit more interest in. But I definitely think Cal Ritchie, obviously he's the more valuable of the prospects. But if they are more worried about what helps us now, Behrens has the value over Ritchie, in my opinion.
I think he definitely is sooner NHL ready, but I also worry that we've overvalued Behrens in the scheme of things. And it's just because of the concern around size and durability at the NHL level, just because he has had a procedure and seems to be having a perfectly fine season at DU, but has had some injury crop up at the college level. So I think there's a question of what he is at the pro level when he plays among men. And that would be the only reason that I don't want you to move Sean Behrens. I mean that it should be Cal Ritchie.
Definitely the only reason.
I'm kidding. I actually really like a lot of this. I don't know, San Jose says yes to this, but I like it. And
They do not.
I could be talked into it. They'll need a goaltender. There's Prosvetov right there.
What I would say about moving Cal Ritchie in a situation like this, too, if you're solving that 2C spot long term, the Avs down the middle are McKinnon, whoever you get at 2C.
Nick Paul.
Paul, Mittelstadt, McTavish, whoever. Colton. So are you really holding on to Ritchie to be your 4C? Or does he not have more value as a trade
I
piece?
think at that point you just give him time.
Sure.
And then the other aspect of this, I'm cap compliant by quite a bit. And I kept Bowen Byram, so I could do whatever I want to do in the summer.
True.
I'm going to give you a
You
10.
are not allowed to do anything in the summer because you've traded half your organization.
I can do plenty of stuff in the summer.
Yeah, you can watch other teams make moves.
Anaheim.
I have like $3 million cap space if you make sure that McTavish doesn't hit any of his bonuses.
Nice.
That means he's underperforming. That means your deal sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Great. You got a worse version of Nick Paul. Well done.
We won't hold that line. Take it off. Tiff, can you take that line off? His last words there. No, I'll give you a 10 because I'm fair. But it's so different than Rudo's because you got me at hello, just like Jerry Maguire. I'm a big Colin Miller fan, original misfit. Colin Miller would work fine here if you give him a hug. You know, if Colin Miller needs hugs, you know what I mean? I think we all need hugs, but he plays well when he
That's so
gets
real.
hugged. And he fits the bill there. And then Nick Paul, I'm a big fan. You know that. I've been a big fan for freaking years. But you're right. Rudo's got a bigger punch there with McTavish. You know what I mean? So it's
also
different.
has, in my opinion, a worse player today.
Say that again?
I said I think he also has a worse player today.
Not by
I think
much,
I think
man.
McTavish
Not
is worse
by
than Nick
much.
Paul right now.
Well, I'm not disagreeing, but McTavish is a bulldog.
Yeah, I think
but
a year from now that won't
yeah,
be true.
that's true. But I like it. You just went at it differently. And I like the Kakinen one. I put any name there instead of Foodie. Let him pick. So just say Foodie, Angley, Rudolph, and Hernandez, because you're an untouchable.
And Riz.
But the Riz, and then this is what I like to
RIZZLER
do.
1C.
And these types of deals, that's what I like to do. Is you give them options. The same thing with Barons. You just say, I'll give you Barons, I'll give you Ritchie. You pick, knock yourself out. And a lot of times teams like that because it's like, oh, you might think they want a D, but they actually want a forward. You know what I mean? So when you give them the opportunity to just,
I'll give him the option,
choose,
whichever one.
Yeah, that's
I'm
what I mean.
happy.
So I like it. It addresses the goalie. It addresses the 2C. It's just different than Rudo's, but I like Rudo's because he's swinging. You know what I mean? But I like yours because it's
Mine's also cost efficient for the next 6 years.
That's his big selling point.
A lot of things on both sides. That's why you guys are the best in the
My
business.
2 and 3 C's will cost me $7 million.
I love the way you moved on from Ryan Johansson. It didn't involve taking on Duclair or Nico
Yeah.
Sturm.
Yeah.
It just made sense.
Just
Chicago
away.
is among few teams I think would be interested in agreeing to that. It's probably the most realistic way to handle him.
I told you originally I had Colin Blackwell in there just to piss off Rudo.
I
Oh, I
wouldn't
like
have even
him
been
too.
mad about other
He's a
than
perfect
like
4C.
can he stay healthy, but I'd been fine with that.
Also, I went through his skating data and was like, I'm good.
Not that great.
The dream is dead.
Yeah, understandable.
I like it.
I would give this like a 6, but because no one that I could find, not a single roster, traded Mikhail Guyayev, I'm giving you everyone else a 10.
No
One of them did.
No one.
I
Oh,
missed it then.
okay.
What's up?
Oh, I was clarifying. No one traded Guliev.
None
One.
of the ones
I saw
that
one.
saw.
One. Okay.
Missed that one, I guess.
Arch nemesis.
Yeah, whoever that is.
You get a 0. I think we're good. Can I take this hat off? I'm really, really hot.
Yes.
Melting over there. While AJ is stripping down,
Yikes.
make sure you go get your game on. Do they call it are rugby games?
Matches?
Is it matches? Shit. Go check out a rugby match.
If you're looking to light the match.
Hey,
Like
look
the
at that.
match.
Down at Infinity Park in Glendale. Go down. You got to check out Infinity Park if you've never been. It's just a great place to go hang out. Highly recommend you go see it if you haven't. And, of course, you can catch the American Raptors there. They're starting off a 6-game homestand in their season on March 17th. So a ton of games to go check out. Rugby, an incredibly fun sport to just go enjoy. If you want to learn more about it, we have the DNVR Rugby account run by Colton Strickler. He has amazing 101 pods where you can learn everything about it. And you can get tickets to Infinity Park for just $10. So go check it out at AmericanRaptors.com, where you can also stream all of their games. After you've enjoyed a sunny day at Infinity Park, make sure you come down to the DNVR bar and have a good time with us. We got tons of events, including one tomorrow, but you stay home for this one. Don't come to the bar. Watch along of the game tomorrow. We're giving away a Coors Light DNVR Avs sign that looks sick. Tiff is about to come show it off on camera over here. But yeah, we're just someone watching the watch along is going to win this sick sign. That it looks amazing. I'm not going to lie to you. Yeah, look at that thing.
Lit up. It looks
We can't
awesome.
see it. This direction.
Yeah. There you go. That sign. Go check it out. You can win that tomorrow if you're part of the watch along. But also come down here and enjoy a good time down at the DNVR bar. If you're a diehard, you get discounts. You get all sorts of cool stuff. Consider becoming a diehard with us. And it is sold out, but for those of you that got tickets, Friday, after a very long day of trades, we're taking over Ball Arena. We're taking the bus down against the Minnesota Wild. It's going to be a great time. Going to drink a lot of beer. Going to enjoy myself. So come have a good time with us there as well. Keep an eye out for more watch-alongs, or not watch-alongs, takeovers in the future. Have a good time. A little itchy there, bud?
I am.
All right. Fair enough. Come on down to the bar if you ever feel like it. It's a great place to just hang out and enjoy some sports. We got 3 Super Chats, and then we're all getting out of here because we're way over time. $10 from Eddie, who says, is this enough to get the RIZZLER a Cookie Crisp wand?
Probably 2.
What is a Cookie Crisp wand?
It's a wand with a big cookie at the end of it. Chevy Chase had one in Community.
Okay. I've never watched Community, so that adds up.
Yeah, I know. You don't watch things that are
Great
good.
show.
I don't. It's true.
Like Love is Blind.
All right. If we're calling that a great show. $5.
Finale tomorrow. How dare you?
Hey, enjoy it, bud.
I will.
$5 from Pin King, who says, if Crosby is up for trade, who would the Avs trade to get him? He's not. Check out short coming out on our YouTube very soon.
Someday.
And then $5 more from Pin King, who says, Johansson, Byram, 2 first-round picks for Crosby with 50% retained. Pittsburgh would spit in your face. That's the end of that.
Maybe you're into that.
We are going to get out of here. I appreciate all of you joining the show, submitting rosters, even if we didn't use yours. Y'all are awesome. We love this community. That's why we do fun stuff like roasting rosters. We want y'all to be a part of it. As much as we do all of this work and all this stuff, we wouldn't be able to be here and do this without all of you. So thank you very much. We are back tomorrow, game day, usual stuff with the watch along, with the Coors Light sign that you can win. Come hang out with that. Then Thursday, Friday, it's trade season for real. So we'll talk to you very soon.
We all silly like the mayor.